So here we are in the Château de Beru, and you have the Clos Beru surrounding the chateau.
Yeah.
It's about 4 hectares of vines. It's surrounded by its wall that is still there all around. It dates from the 13th century, so it's really one of the oldest land in Chablis and in Burgundy in general, because it was planted and isolated in the 13th century when the monks were cultivating the vines in Burgundy. So they were really building walls, not as fortifications, but really to isolate a specific geological land. That's what you have with the Clos Vougeot, or that's what you have with the Clos des Mouches. It's each time a very specific land that is isolated. Here the specificity of the Clos Beru, if you look at all the surroundings, is the exposure. It's the only vine facing south, like the Grand Cru coast. And it's also a land where the rocks comes very, very close to the surface, so the land is very poor. And the roots of the vines have to go to grow. They have to go directly in the chalk, in the rocks that are here. So it's really very concentrated with marine fossils and oysters and ammonite and all these things. So it comes directly in the roots, and it will give a very specific taste to the grapes and to the wine we make from this land. And the difference is huge, even with the grape juice.
And these vines are about how old here in the vineyard?
Here,
Average?
the whole vineyard has been planted by my father in the 80s.
Okay.
So it's 25, 30 years old, more or less, depending on where. It starts to be the right age for vines. I'm lucky for that, to recover the vine just at the right time. It had been cultivated since the 13th century, even earlier before, but not as the Clos Beru. And then it was planted in vines until the beginning of the 20th century, where it has been uprooted with the phylloxera crisis that was. So we have the Clos Beru, and then we have our vines of Chablis on the Beru Hill. So most of them are on the hill that we see over there, which are also characterized by very rocky soils. It's not as complex as the Clos Beru, but we have also lots of stones. So it will give really lots of minerality and very straight wines. And then in the small valley behind this hill, we have the Vaucoupin, which is our premier cru. That's what we cultivate. So all the 14 hectares are in organic now since 2005, 2006, and are turning to biodynamic since it's very last year.
green.
We don't work a lot the soils. We have a horse coming here, and we use the tractor only for treatments against mildew and oidium. And the rest is by hand or with a horse.
You said you're using a mixture of plants for treatments?
Some plants for treatment. We use, in terms of biodynamic, we use the preparations for the soil to give the dynamic in spring and in autumn to the soil. And then we have different plants, which I won't know the name in English. I have to practice my biodynamic in English. That are used to give a different period of time of the year some strength, or to the leaves, or to the roots, or to the fruit. And we follow the moon calendar, which has also different types of days, depending on when you want to, if you want your action to be on the roots or on the leaves. It's really a question of where the sap of the vines is. If it's in the roots, then it's where you want to give your action, because all the energy, the blood of the vines is in the soil. And when it goes in the leaves, this is when you choose to have your action there. It's just a natural way to increase any small action that you try to have.